Yo. It's your boy, Gilbert. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, you're listening to the 4th episode of the Educated Black Siblings Podcast.
4 EBS number 4. We here straight up at the door. What? EBS number 4.
We still don't have a theme song.
That sounded just like a theme song to me.
To my left is my sister. Introduce yourself.
Hello there, lovely podcast people. My name is the one, the only Miss Lindsay, and I'm fabulous.
That is right. That is my fabulous and loud sister, Lindsay. We
never
are
liked you.
the Educated Black Siblings, and this is our podcast that you have stumbled upon. Again, this is episode number 4. And for those of you that are coming here for the first time, because we assume that some of you are first-time listeners, what we're going to do, or what we seek to do every week, is we're going to cover off on some current event type stuff. Sometimes it's political, sometimes it's not. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to talk a little bit about some philosophy. So we're always going to talk about some serious topics up front. Mm-hmm. Then after that, we're going to get into a little bit of the pop culture stuff.
If you will.
Mm-hmm. I like to mix a little ratchet with my righteous. You know what I'm saying?
What? Ratchet with your righteous.
You need a healthy balance of ratchet and righteous.
Listen, I'm going to go ahead and say, anybody that doesn't have a good amount of ratchet in their life isn't doing life correctly.
You know what I'm saying?
You need to go ahead and balance it out.
A little bit.
Like a healthy balance in your diet.
You don't want to be all the way ratchet.
No, but it's good. Just like sugar, you need some ratchet.
Yeah, but shout out to the first-time listeners.
Let me go ahead and say, shout out to the returning listeners. Gilbert likes to throw shade at y'all, like y'all stumbled upon, like you just happened upon this podcast. No. We've got some dedicated listeners out there already. Episode 4, they're 4 in deep.
All
just
5
like
of
us. You know what?
And we appreciate it.
I have faith in us, Gilbert.
We appreciate it.
You may not, but I have faith.
Speaking of returning listeners, I'm really, really happy because we get to do our first Talk Back segment today.
Talk back.
So one of the things that we harp on this podcast is we're only doing this so that we can have conversation. Mm-hmm. Not with each other, because we live down the street from each other.
We talk enough.
We can have conversations with each other, but we're trying to extend this conversation to people that are like-minded and even to people that aren't like-minded. So we actually did get some responses from last week's podcast, which is awesome.
Okay, listeners.
We got an email. I shouldn't say the person's email address, right? Because that's personal.
Definitely don't do that.
All right, so
we
got
give them a fake name.
We got an email from we'll call somebody A Boogie. We got an email from A Boogie who wanted to know why we left Recess off of our favorite cartoons. Because it's not one of our favorite cartoons.
One of my favorite cartoons. Recess was cool. It was all right. I just never really like Saturday mornings. Don't get me wrong. I would watch Recess, but
Recess was lit.
I was really just watching Recess so that I could get into Pepper Ann. So Recess was all right. I just thought the kids were extra rude. That's what it was about Recess. The kids were rude. The adults were rude. Like, there wasn't really anybody I connected with. Because even the main dude was a punk. And I was like, I don't care. So that's why I didn't mention it.
I never really watched Recess.
There you go.
That was the one with the dirty twins.
Was that Recess?
Weren't there dirty twins on Recess? And the girl with the hat, like the skull cap all the time?
It was Spinelli. I just feel like every episode was like the kids getting mad, starting a food fight, and then getting detention. And it's like, I get it. I don't care. Yeah. So we left it off because we didn't care.
But we're glad that you interacted.
Thanks, A Boogie.
Every single podcast, again, we're going to have a top 5. Sometimes it's music. Sometimes it's entertainment. Sometimes it's whatever, right? We're going to have a top 5. And we want you to shoot back your top 5s to us, just like A Boogie did.
Also, our top 5 is at the end, towards the end of the podcast. So if you've listened and you're
it's the finale, baby.
It's the finale, boo. So if you're like, how come I haven't heard top 5 yet? It's because you need to be listening to the whole thing. We ain't just giving you little bits and pieces. This ain't no trail mix. This is a full meal. You can't stay for the appetizer, stay for the main, and not get you some dessert.
I ain't no side podcast.
I'm the main podcast. We ain't no fries. This ain't no mac and cheese. Lasagna.
So you can follow us on Twitter at the EBS Podcast.
Yes.
At the EBS Podcast. A few of you have done that. One in particular at Nolia_2013.
Yeah, baby. That's the thing, baby.
That's the one, baby. That's the one. Baby. Oh, Daniel Bunt, what is you doing, baby?
What you get it, baby?
So Nolia_2013 wanted to know how it was possible that we have not seen the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Listen here, Noya, baby. It was so easy.
It was really easy.
Like, I can't think of anything easier that I've done. When I heard it was on, I was like, okay, so I'm going to go in this room over here. And never had to watch it.
I'm going to just be honest. I think the first time I heard of Pirates of the Caribbean was like when when the ninth Pirates of the Caribbean movie was playing on TNT. I was like, this kind of looks interesting, but I'm not going to watch the other 8 movies.
Can we talk about how they're always on TNT? I don't watch cable TV anymore, but I feel like TNT.
I don't have cable.
I don't
TV
even have it.
We don't watch it because we don't have it.
We don't have it. I mean, Netflix for the win. But I feel like Pirates is always playing on TNT. I will say I tried to watch the first one 3 times, and I fell asleep every single time. I just didn't care. And then I heard that they kind of changed the series after like the 3rd one because everybody wanted more Jack Sparrow, so they put in more Jack Sparrow. And after that, I was like, I don't care. Man. It's kind of like Fast and Furious to me.
I like Fast and Furious though.
Do you though? What was the last Fast and Furious you saw?
Our top 5 today is going to be our top 5 movie series, and Fast and Furious is not in mine.
Not at all. Not even near it.
So Bill Maher apologized for saying the N-word last week.
Did he?
Yeah. How you feel about that?
I mean, I figured that he would. One thing that I thought was interesting about that is that this
It was such an insincere apology.
His?
Yeah.
What did he say? I didn't even listen to it.
My bad.
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry about you. Sorry for the N-word.
I'm sorry, Joe.
One thing I thought was interesting is that this episode, like this past week, he had like Ice Cube and Killer Mike and somebody else. I can't remember who else on the show.
I think it was Michael Eric Dyson, wasn't it?
Or Michael, yeah, sir. Sure. Go with that. But I thought it was funny because people were giving him flack and they were like, really? Like, you said the N-word, then all of a sudden you're going to have all the blackest of black people on your show. And what's interesting is that apparently those people were already slated to be on the show.
Yeah, on the last week's show, it showed in the credits that those people were going to be on there. Bill Maher is he's there for the blacks.
For the blacks.
Yeah, I like Bill Maher, man. Like Ice Cube is a recurring guest on his show. So. But that just goes to show you that perception is everything, right? So he messed up with the black community, and then he was already going to have black guests on the show, but it makes it look like you're trying to be extra black. I don't like this.
Don't be extra black, Bill.
Don't be extra black, Bill.
You know what I hate?
Tell me what you hate.
I hate that Bill is short for William.
Bill shouldn't be short for William.
Do you know how long it took me to realize that Bill Clinton's real name was William?
Bill Clinton's real name is William?
Bruh. His name is William. It blew my mind.
Man.
You know what made me mad? I had another one. I hate shorthands. I had a friend in 6th grade.
So you hate Donald Trump?
Well, yes.
Because he has tiny hands. It's true.
What?
It's true. Donald Trump has tiny hands.
Anyways, I had a friend in 6th grade who we called Jim, but his name was James. And it's like, bruh, stop. I dated Jim. Did you know that?
You dated a Jim?
Well, James.
No, I did not know that.
I did.
Tell me more about
Jim was very pale. He had orange hair.
Tell me more about pale Jim.
Orange freckles. Jim had blue eyes that would sometimes change to green. That's when I went to a random private Christian academy for a year. Did you know that?
I did.
Were you in the house?
Did know that. I did know that.
Where were you my 6th grade year? Were you there?
Playing basketball, probably.
Cool.
Yeah, I was on basketball.
You were on the other side of the house.
Yeah.
By the other side, I mean literally right next door.
Yeah, we grew up in a really small house.
Was tiny.
So speaking of nicknames, I was trying to get into our current events, but that didn't work.
I'm sorry.
But no. Speaking of nicknames,
is the mics?
Yeah, the mics. But speaking of nicknames, right? So sometimes I give people random names for me. Mm-hmm. And so when we were on vacation a couple weeks ago in St. Lucia, this lady was like, hey, what's your name? And I said, Gilbert, but you can call me Bob. And she said, don't say that here anymore. And I said, why not? Because she said, Bob stands for something here. It stands for battery operated boyfriend. And you don't want to be associated with that.
Whoa.
And I said, you know what, ma'am?
Good looking out, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thanks, Susan.
I appreciate that.
Whoa, Bob.
So I don't like the fact that in society now, we feel the need to apologize for everything.
Ugh. It's the worst.
Like, it's like Bill Maher clearly was comfortable with saying the N-word. he clearly thought that the joke that he made was funny, yet he felt the need to apologize, not because he felt bad about it. You want to know how I know he didn't feel bad about it? Because when his largely white audience groaned, you know what he looked at them and said?
It's a joke.
It's a joke.
Oh,
it's a joke. Right? Yeah. So when he came out and apologized, I'm like, you can keep your apology. You're sorry that we're upset. Like, and people do that all. Like, I don't like the tweet and delete thing that people do.
Stupid. I don't understand the purpose of that. Like, you know that everybody sees this. You know that people are screenshotting it. You know they're taking pictures. What is the point in tweeting something and then deleting it 5 seconds later? I never understood that.
Yeah, I'm all over the place today. How was your LA vacation? Before we jump into
I had something to say about that. But
I'm sorry.
I just don't like the fact that we live in this. I guess it's just the climate in this nation right now in general that we have to be so PC. Yeah. And it's like there's a difference between having just regular human kindness and being PC. And I feel like the need to be super PC is making things uncomfortable. Like, I'll have conversations with coworkers and they're trying to tread lightly and they're like, oh, well, the African American girl. I'm like, you mean the black girl over there? Like, she's black. You can say she's black. Like, I don't know. It's things like that just...
I feel uncomfortable calling myself African American.
Because we're not African American. Let's go ahead and talk about that real quick. We're not.
That there are actual African Americans?
There are actual African Americans out there. We are not African American.
Like, I have a friend that's from Kenya who's also an American citizen. He has dual citizenship. Yes. He is an African American.
I am not.
I'm an American American.
I'm an American American. Yeah. That happens to be black. Or black and American, if you will. Yeah. But yeah, I just got back from California. How'd that sound?
It was beautiful.
I thought it was. I got back from LA, man. That was cool.
Did you enjoy yourself?
I did. We didn't do... I mean, I guess we did. We didn't really do any touristy things. So I didn't really feel like I was in LA. Like, the last day I saw the Hollywood sign, I was like, oh, man. But I went to Disneyland, and it was magical. And I've been to Disney World before, but Disneyland, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just because I wasn't there with the parents and it was my own money. But I guess just being there, I was like, man, this is fantastic. Also went to Universal Studios. That was kind of a letdown because I thought the rides were going to be a little bit better. They weren't, but it was still cool. Hung out a little bit, did a little bit of LA nightlife. That was cool. It was a real chill time, and I needed it because being a teacher is rough.
Man, I can dig that. I going back to the PC stuff that you were just talking about, I find it interesting that everyone in the United States is required to be politically correct, except for the highest ranking official in the United States. Right? And I'm not saying that to disrespect President Donald Trump. You know, Donald Trump is the president. Cool, but he's not a PC person. Not at all. Right? Like, if I said any of the stuff that Donald Trump said on the campaign trail, I would get fired.
That's 100% true.
Like, I think that's... So it's like we have this line where we're in this country where we're supposed to have freedom of speech, but we don't really have freedom of speech. It's like, you can say what you want, but you better not say what you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of weird.
That's something that I had to deal with, especially around, like, right before election time. I had students that use, I don't want to say that word, but when Donald Trump was like, I'll grab women in their female parts, you know what I mean? I had kids that used that word, and I hate that word anyway. I said, you will not use that word. And they said, why can't we? Donald Trump used it. And it's
a crazy precedent.
How do I say, no, like, you're wrong? Like, you know what I mean? I just don't understand how we hold him to a different standard than the rest of America, but it's fine.
I can tell you, and this actually ties in great with our first real conversation topic about current events, which is this Comey hearing. And when we were preparing for the podcast, I realized that I really haven't been following the Comey hearing, and the reason for that is because Donald Trump has defeated me. And when I say that Donald Trump has defeated me, I mean I pride myself on being informed, right? Like, I go out of my way to read articles on things that I care about. I go out of my way to make sure that I know what's going on politically, etc., right? But Donald Trump, like, the news cycle with this administration has just been insane.
Yeah.
It's like every week there's something. And like, when Comey started his testimonies, I was just like, is Donald Trump gonna get impeached because of this? Did he do something illegal? If not, I don't care. I just don't care anymore.
Yeah, before we talk about Comey, just kind of to touch on what you were just saying, I can't remember who it was, but somebody was talking about how we don't consume politics the way that we're supposed to. Like originally it was like you found out gradually things that were happening in the White House and you knew overall like what was going on, but it wasn't this constant every day, every second need to be inundated with just information coming out of the White House. And I feel like no joke, like it's affecting mental health. Like it gets to the point where I hear so much crap that I'm like, I can't handle this anymore.
Right.
So it feels good. Like I get you. Like you come back from vacation, and even though I mean you weren't, but I mean I was still in the country. But for a second, I was like, let me just get off of social media. Let me just get away from the news for a second and just kind of breathe and not have to worry about that. I think it's great to be informed, and we should be informed, and we should know what's going on. But at the same time, we need to understand that we were not meant to consume politics the way that we are currently doing it. And you need to take a step back and realize if it's affecting you to the point where you don't even want to hear it, or you're becoming intolerant, or you just like it's affecting your personality, then you need to take a step back and say, hey, not time for you today, politics.
No more politics.
No more politicking.
So, but I did catch up on the Comey thing.
Tell me more.
The biggest takeaway from me on my research on this Comey investigation is that Comey is 6'8". And so
Is he really?
Yeah, I Googled Comey.
That's huge.
And it had his name. The Wikipedia page has his name, his title, and his height, which is something that usually they only do for athletes. So I'm not quite sure why Wikipedia felt the need to tell me that Comey was 6'8".
How tall is Donald Trump?
Donald Trump, I mean, he has tiny hands, so I'm guessing...
What is going on with you and his hands? I've never heard that Donald Trump had tiny hands.
He does. He has tiny hands. I'm guessing he's 5'10".
Let's go ahead and find out.
You're going to look up how tall Donald Trump is.
Yeah, because I wonder if that plays a factor into their relationship. Like, if Donald Trump is... if Comey's been looking down at him this entire time, maybe that makes things make more sense.
You just made me laugh out loud.
I'm sorry. I mean, it is what it is. It doesn't say.
So, yeah, he probably removed all evidence of his height from the internet.
That's funny.
So
6'2".
So okay, so Donald Trump is not a short guy.
He still has to look up to Comey.
He's not 6'8".
He's not 6'8".
But really, the most important thing I took away from the Comey testimony is that it does not appear that Obama wiretapped Trump, which is troubling because the president of the United States tweeted that Obama wiretapped
Falsely
him.
accused.
Right, so it's kind of a big deal, but it's Trump, so nobody cares. And then Comey basically accused this administration of lying. Like, Comey comes out and he says, hey, you're allowed to fire an FBI director with no reason, yet they gave reasons, and those reasons were lies. Like, that's what Comey said. Comey was basically saying, I wish you would have just fired me and not said anything. Rather than defame my name is the word that he used, which I thought was interesting. I also found it interesting that one of the guys interviewing Comey, I don't remember his name, asked him why Comey felt the need to document his conversations with Donald Trump. And Comey straight up replied, because I felt like he might lie or misrepresent these conversations.
Comey said, he's going to come for me and I'm going to have these receipts on that man.
Like,
no, you won't.
Like, this is where we are in American politics, where the former FBI director said, I felt the need to document these conversations because I don't trust the president. When the FBI director, former FBI director, excuse me, because he did get fired, doesn't trust the president of the United States. That's where we are right now.
I don't want it to sound like we're Trump bashing right now because we're not.
I haven't said anything bad about Trump.
I don't like Trump, so I'm going to put it out there.
He has tiny hands,
but I just think if the FBI director doesn't back him, if none of the currently living former presidents back him, like if anybody that has the reputation and or the status to back this man, they don't.
That's so weird.
How is he still?
What you just said is so weird. Like, I was telling people this during the election season. Every living person that has ever held this position, even the ones that were Republican, said, hey, you probably shouldn't vote for him.
He's not the one. He's not the one.
That's crazy. I saw a report that said that Donald Trump has not had any communication with Obama since Obama has left.
Because Obama's been out here looking GQ fly. Obama looks so happy. Him and Michelle chilling.
He does look happy. It's ridiculous.
It's fantastic.
Anything else on Comey?
Good on you, Comey, man.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if anything comes from it.
Where do you go after you've been fired as the FBI director? Like, what do you? Because I feel like that's where people say you can just go to the private sector, but I don't know what that means. Like, what is he?
He's gonna write a book.
Okay. Comey tells all.
He's gonna write a book and it's gonna make a lot of money.
Oh yeah, he is.
And I don't know if you remember, but there was a big deal about Hillary Clinton she was getting $300,000 checks to do speaking engagements. Comey is about to get paid on the speaking circuit.
Paid.
Like, paid.
Well, go ahead, Combs.
And then, of course, you can always, like you said, go into the private sector. He could be a Department of Defense consultant because he still has security clearance. He can do all sorts of stuff.
Did you see that your boy isn't backing Trump anymore? Or he wasn't backing him, but he's not consulting with him anymore?
Also, but before I go there, also Comey is a lawyer, so he could go back. He could go back to law if he wanted to. But
I always forget that people that hold these higher up positions like they had to do other things before they got there.
And who are you talking about?
The dude that builds the cars.
And the dude that builds the cars.
And the rocket. Musk.
Elon Musk.
That dude.
My sister just. She just whittled down one of the most brilliant people living today to the guy that builds the cars and the rockets.
Is that not an accurate description?
That is what
Elon
Musk has done. He has built cars and a rocket.
So there it is.
Yep. What about Elon Musk?
I don't remember if we talked about it or not last week, but because we pulled out of the Paris Agreement, he was like, I can't be on board with this, so I will no longer be consulting with the Trump administration.
Yeah, because he's pioneered electric cars, so he clearly cares about the environment. So there's a bit of a conflict of interest there.
How much pollution is sending your rocket up into space doing, though?
Bro, that's fair. We need to charge Elon
Let's go
Musk
ahead and charge him
up,
man. Unless you have a fireless ignition that's going on here, man. You put a lot of pollutants in the air,
Elon Musk is so fantastic. This like do you realize Elon Musk with his own money built a rocket, sent it to space, and his rocket is so good that NASA...
How good is this rocket, Gilbert?
NASA said, hey, Mr. Musk, can we borrow your rocket? Like,
Mr. Musk.
You need to... Elon Musk is the actual Iron Man. Like, he's the real Tony Stark.
I like how excited you got over Elon Musk and his rocket.
Elon Musk built a thing and went to space.
He
didn't personally go to space, but I personally believe that Elon Musk is going to beat NASA to Mars. I think Elon Musk is going to put people on Mars.
Oh, put people.
I think Elon Musk is going to put people on Mars before NASA.
I mean, cool, man. I have no dog in the race.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about Elon Musk. Pause. It is what it is.
Moving on up. Elon is a weird name.
It is kind of a strange name.
Elon.
So there's been a lot of terror in the news.
Tell me more about
unfortunately.
Terror.
Somebody shot up a congressional softball
game.
Like, why?
I don't know, man. Softball is a terrible sport, but
this
not
is
that
not
bad.
This is not jokes, Lindsay.
I'm sorry.
This is not jokes.
This is not jokes.
This is real.
I'm sorry. It was
people's lives.
Did people die? Nobody died.
I don't think but somebody's in hurt. Critical condition.
Yeah.
I think Donald Trump said he's doing real bad or something like with terrible bedside manner. But
did they catch the dude that did it? I don't even remember.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure yet. I know when I said there's been a lot of terror in the news, the London terror attack is crazy to me because these guys didn't use guns or bombs. They just drove into a crowd of people. Like, that's insane.
I mean, I feel like by definition, that's what terror is.
It is.
That you're scared at all times, at any moment, something could pop off. I just feel bad for London in general. They can't catch a break. Yeah. Did you see the apartment building fire that happened? Like, the whole building caught up in flames?
It's crazy, man.
That's terrifying.
It's crazy. And Drake is stealing all their rappers? Like, it's ridiculous.
Tell me more. What?
Yeah, Drake is stealing all the London rappers and putting them on More Life. Stealing their songs.
Who?
Gigs. Skepta.
Skepta British?
Yeah. I think somebody add us and tell us if Skepta is not British.
What is that person's name? Is it Georgia?
Georgia Smith.
Georgia Smith?
She kind of lit.
I've been seeing her everywhere.
Yeah, she kind of lit.
Popping.
Being on a Drake album will do that for you.
I like Jersey Drake.
So have you ever heard of a thought experiment?
Thought like THOT, like we thought out here in these streets.
No, we have not made it to the ratchet section of the podcast yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't want you to experiment with thoughts.
Okay.
That is not what I meant.
Tell me more.
A thought experiment.
Yes. Why don't you go ahead and explain a little bit?
A thought experiment is something that people use in philosophy, right? Where they take a complex, usually a moral issue, but they boil it down to its simplest terms, using simple stuff.
Okay.
Right? I really like philosophy.
Sure you do.
And I really like thought experiments. So I'd like to talk to you about one.
All right, let's do it.
So this is, I'm hoping that maybe because they talked about thought experiments on a popular show on Netflix called Kimmy Smith, that maybe more people will get back into this. But I want to talk to you about the Trolly Experiment. Have you heard it before?
No.
All right. So the Trolly Thought Experiment sets up this situation. You are standing in front of a switch and you're looking out and you can see a trolley. There are 2 trolley tracks. There is a person tied to a trolley track. Now, I'm going to stop saying trolley. Can I say train?
Yes, I don't know why you're saying trolley.
All right. So there's a train headed for 5 people that are tied to the train track. But there is one single person also tied to a different train track. If you hit the switch, you can divert the train to only hit the one person. Mm-hmm. If you do nothing, it's going to hit the 5 people. What would you do?
Is that it?
It's a thought experiment.
I mean, so the quick answer is that I feel like you should save the one. No, you should save the 5 and get rid of the one. I was like, get rid of, but you should send the train.
Right, that's a utilitarian idea, right? You're supposed to do the thing that's best for the most people.
Yes. However, I think there's other factors that are in there. It's like, so who was this one person?
That's a good.
Or
that's
who
a good
were
point.
the 5? Is it 5 criminals? Is it 5 people on death row?
See that? And that's where thought experiments are awesome because should that matter?
Yes.
So it's like stuff like this is you apply it to real life when. There was a situation in the 1800s where there was a lynch mob, and the lynch mob was saying, hey, we're going to murder everybody in this town if this person that did this crime isn't brought to justice. So then there was a guy that the judge knew didn't commit the crime, but he had committed another crime, and he was like, I'm going to say that this person committed this crime so that I can save this town, right? Mm-hmm. I know that sounds extreme, but that's a real life implication. It's like, should I sacrifice this one person to save this entire town, even though he didn't do this crime?
I mean,
but let's say that all of the people on the train track are innocent. None of them are criminals.
Then that sucks. But you got it. Like, I feel like you have to save the 5.
So you're gonna hit the switch and move it, and you're gonna hit the one person. That's what you're gonna do. So I'm in a weird camp where, like, unless you tell me that I have to hit the switch.
Oh, so you think that something's going to happen, like the train's going to, like, stop?
There's another group of people that believe that this ain't got nothing to do with me. Once I hit that switch, I am now a part of somebody's murder, right?
Gotcha.
But let's add to it that you have to do something, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a tough question. I think you're supposed to say that you're going to sacrifice the one to save the 5, right? Mm-hmm. So there's another thing where you kind of twist the thought experiment a little bit and you say, let's say this. Same situation. There's 5 people on a train track. The train is headed towards these 5 people, but this time you're standing on a bridge. There's a man in front of you, one man. If you push this man over the bridge, he's going to hit the train and stop the train, and that's going to save those 5 people. What do you do?
That's a little bit more real.
It is, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So a lot of people, most people will say, hey, I'm going to hit the switch, and I'm going to save the 5 people, sacrifice the one. But now when you have to be the person to actually kill the one person, right? People are like, well, I'm not going to murder this guy because I don't want to live with that. So are you going to sacrifice those 5 people to save your conscience?
But then those 5 people's lives are still on your conscience.
Man, that's real.
I got a thought experiment for you.
You have a thought experiment for me?
So this is not really original. It's there's this really trippy movie that I think I watched with you a while ago.
All right.
It's called The Box, I think.
Yeah,
But the premise of the movie is that there's a box that's delivered to you.
Yep.
And it has a button.
Yep.
If you push this button, you get $1 million. However, someone somewhere
dies, right?
in the world dies.
Okay.
Would you push the button?
Nope.
What would the amount have to be for you to push that button?
I'm not sure that there's an actual numerical amount that I'm going to take to push that button. I don't know that there's because what you're essentially asking is what amount of money is there that would make me feel okay with taking somebody else's life. Mm-hmm. And there's no amount of money that you, like, all things, we're talking about all things equal, right? It's a completely random person. This person hasn't done anything to me. This person didn't try to kill my wife or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Just a random, there's no amount of money I think that you can tempt me with that would make me okay with me being responsible for killing a person specifically so that I could have money. Like,
would it be better if you knew who the other person was? Like, so let's say it's a criminal that's literally about to go in for a lethal injection, and you hitting that button was just them pressing the button.
I mean, if he was gonna die anyway,
that's give me the money.
That might be a little different.
Wow,
it might be a little different.
A little bit.
It might be a little different.
I don't know. If you haven't seen that movie, we need to go back and watch that movie.
Did we just spoil the movie, or
no? That's the basic premise. That's in the first 2 minutes of the movie.
Gotcha.
It's just, I mean, they push the button. And it proceeds to take them on this weird series of events, which I need to go back and rewatch that movie. If you haven't, watch it, and then we'll talk about it next week. I'm going to watch that movie.
Yeah.
Thought experiments, man. Do you have one that doesn't involve killing people?
Do I have a thought experiment that doesn't involve
Every time you say
people?
thought, I think of people twerking in a Walmart.
No, we're not talking about those sorts of thoughts. There are lots of thought experiments. Not really another one that I've memorized that we can talk about right now. Mm-hmm. There are a few other ones involving money, but I don't really want to get into those right now.
How about if y'all have a thought experiment, tweet us, send us one, and we may talk about it next week on the show.
Yeah, that's a good one. If you have a weird hypothetical situation like the one that we just brought up, add us at the EBS Podcast on Twitter, or send us an email at educatedblacksiblings@gmail.com. Or hit us up on Instagram at Educated Black Siblings on Instagram.
Or put it on the YouTubes.
Or comment on the YouTube video.
We're the only Educated Black Siblings that pops up. So
we are the only Educated Black Siblings.
We are the only Educated Black Siblings.
That is.
Dang.
The culture is not doing...
For the culture!
For the culture.
Speaking of which, the Rihanna vocals came in. Did you see that?
No.
On Instagram, Rihanna posted a picture. She was like, I would like to say thank you to Assad for having me on his new album. I was like, God. She was like, yeah, the album and the vocals are coming through.
Assad is about to make so many residuals.
I mean.
Because Khaled actually listed him as an executive producer, so he's going to get points on this. That's an awesome legacy to set up for your child. All jokes aside.
Well,
he's going to get paid off of every
Blue Ivy Carter is the youngest person to have a Billboard Top 100 hit. Because she's crying on the songs.
Facts.
Speaking of which, Beyonce may be in labor right now, and if she has these babies while the podcast is on, I'm going to have to stop the podcast and go do research on these babies. I'm going to go ahead and put that out there.
We have the ability to pause the podcast, so you didn't even really need to tell the people that. We could have just...
Oh, no, I needed them to know that my love for Beyonce is real. Oh. So I will stop the podcast.
If Beyonce has her children, I will continue talking to you podcast people. I care
Lindsay
about
will
you
not be here.
More than I care about Beyonce.
I don't know if I can say the same.
That's fair. That's fair.
At this moment, I don't know. What if it's... Never mind.
What if it's Beyonce on the other side of the button? Is that your thought experiment?
Why would you say that?
If somebody gave you a box...
I'm not doing this.
If somebody gave you a box...
doing this.
And if you push that button... No, I'm not going to say death. I'm not going to say death. There's a box, right?
No.
And you get $1 million if you push the button in the box. But if you push that button, Beyonce's going to lose her voice.
Like to speak or to sing?
She will never be able to... We're talking straight mermaid. What's that movie? What's the movie?
Mermaid,
The
like
Little
Ariel?
Mermaid, yeah.
Straight mermaid.
We're talking straight Little Mermaid. You push that button, You get $1 million cash money, tax free, but
I mean,
Beyonce will never.
So
speak
I think
again.
a lot of people. This may sound random, but it's not. I think a lot of people forget about Britney Spears and how Britney Spears was ruling the world, and then that fool lost her ever-loving, God-given mind, and just like went off the rails and shaved her head and was throwing her body out there in these streets. Britney Spears hasn't sang since a solid 2004. Britney is lip syncing.
You're setting up the justification to take Beyonce's voice.
I mean, Beyonce can still perform. Like, to be honest, I think she has maybe one more album in her, and she's done. Like, Beyonce gonna be out here twerking for long? She looks miserable having these twins right now. So, I mean, if I could deal with Beyonce lip syncing and dancing to her other music, and I got a milli, I'm good, son.
The NBA Finals happened.
They sure did.
That was a thing.
It sure was. How do you feel?
If I gave you a box
Okay.
and you pushed that button, you had to watch those NBA Finals again.
No. There's no amount of money in the world that could make me want to watch that again.
I disagree with you, and I disagree with all of the trolls in the world that are saying that NBA Finals was boring. That was one of the most exciting.
You're alive straight from the pits of hell.
Those basketball games were exciting.
No, they weren't.
Yes, they were. That was
No,
some
they
of the
weren't.
best basketball that I've seen in a long time.
It was
The Warriors are fantastic.
Listen, I love the Spurs is my favorite NBA team, so I love team basketball. So I love great passes. I love highlight plays. That's fine. But at the end of the day, if the score isn't close, if it's blowout after blowout, I don't care. That's not exciting
Who
basketball
was blowout
to me.
after blowout?
Every single game was a blowout.
KD hit one of the most clutch shots in NBA history with 45 seconds left in one of those games where they got to stop. He got a rebound. They're down by 2. He pulls up with 45 seconds left.
The
two steps across the half court line.
Okay, one.
It was fantastic. And then most of those games were fantastic through 3 quarters. And that's part of what was annoying LeBron. Like those games were blowouts, but they weren't really blowouts. If the game is within 5 points the entire game and then the team takes off in the last 6 minutes, yeah, it's a blowout, but that doesn't mean that the whole game wasn't exciting. Like LeBron James had one of the best finals performances in the history of the NBA Finals. He averaged a triple-double.
Good on you, LeBron.
Good on. What does good on you mean?
Good on you.
Spell it.
Good on you.
All right, so you don't care about the NBA Finals. All right, so
I mean, it was cool. I like Steph. I like KD.
I like Steph. I like bearded Steph. Do you care about the Conor McGregor and Mayweather fight?
Listen, I've never paid to watch a fight in my life. I'm not going to pay to watch this fight. I'm not going to go to a bar to watch this fight. I don't care about this fight. I think it's interesting. I'll watch the highlights.
See, but I have and I will. So listeners, for you guys, just so you know, I am a very big boxing fan.
Apparently, he's a big sports fan.
And I think that this fight is disrespectful to boxing. Like,
how?
So the way that you choose who is gonna fight the reigning champion or the best pound for pound boxer is you fight the person that is next up to be qualified. There are people that have boxed their whole lives and worked, and there are people that have there are actual champions in Mayweather's weight class that are saying, please give me a chance to fight you because I'm the best boxer in my weight class. And you're the best boxer in history, and you're still seemingly active. I want to fight you, and he said no. But he's gonna, and this is a historical fight, by the way. If he wins this fight, he'll be 50-0, which is the best record in boxing history, and he's gonna achieve that against somebody that isn't even a boxer. That's gotta be frustrating to somebody like Canelo Alvarez, who is a fantastic boxer by anybody who watches boxing, right? Who probably Mayweather already beat him. But if somebody deserves a shot, he probably deserves another shot at Mayweather. Yet you're gonna give and it's clearly a money grab, right? And I don't knock anybody for
getting that paper,
getting your paper. You know what I'm saying? Get your cash,
get
your cash. But I feel like it's disrespectful to the sweet science.
Here's my thing. I feel like boxing is disrespectful to my eyes. Once the UFC became a thing, I don't need you boxing. I get it. I get you're still brutal, but when I can watch people bare knuckle punch each other in the face, bloodied, and kick, This makes me sound crazy, but
A little bit.
I feel like
it makes you sound violent.
I'm not violent. I would never bare knuckle bloody somebody's face. But watching that, I would much rather watch that than watch a boxing match that may go 12 rounds, that somebody may get knocked out, that is really just bobbing and weaving and moving.
So you're an American, and that makes sense.
Hey,
Burgers
and beer.
I think that this fight is the only evidence that we need that boxing is officially dead.
Ooh.
Because this is the only boxing match that's generating any sort of interest in popular culture right now. Right? Like there have been several title matches this year and nobody cares, but people are going to tune in for this fight. So I think that means that boxing really needs to do something about its marketing. Like they really have to do something to reach out to
or they need more
audience.
Personalities. You need more Mayweathers.
Yeah,
You need more outspoken.
I mean, but you got people like Mayweather, you got Adrian Bronner, there's people out there that are talking that ish, you know what I mean? But I don't know, maybe this will be good for the sport. Who knows?
I know, I didn't realize how big boxing was. I have friends from high school that box like for a living. Like that's what they do. I don't say friends, but acquaintances. Like literally like they have boxing matches every other like weekend. And I think that's interesting that people like legit are just out here boxing, and I just don't care. But hey,
So you're not a boxing fan?
nah. But good on you, boxers.
I can dig it. Something you are a fan of, music.
Yeah,
SZA dropped a new album.
she did.
Before we talk about SZA's album, Katy Perry also dropped a new album.
She also did.
Did you-
Swish, swish, bish.
Did you listen to it?
Another one in the basket.
Hey.
I love that song. I listened to a part of it. I just realized I don't care about Katy Perry the way that I used to.
Is Katy Perry pop? Because when I listen, first of all, when you look on Spotify, every single song on this album has an explicit tag on it.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that you can't be explicit and be pop, but it's kind of more difficult to push it to the masses if it's explicit. And this was am I correct in saying it was dark sounding? It was kind of dark.
Yeah.
It was very synth heavy, right? Do you consider this, is Katy Perry still pop?
I mean, by your definition, Katy Perry is popular music.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Katy is still that pop. Did we not make the distinction that I consider pop, like, top 40?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, music-wise, when I hear her songs, I don't really hear pop, but she is popular culture, popular music, so.
One thing about Katy Perry that I've always said, and I will continue to say, and I saw it on this album as well, is that Katy's pen is amazing. Like, Katy is a really, really good writer. That being said, I'm here to review the album. You didn't listen to it all, so...
I'll give it a 2 out of 5.
But you didn't listen to it.
Don't tell me what to do.
I'm not telling you what to do.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
You didn't listen to the album. So
I listened to most of the album.
How are you going to rate the entire album when you didn't listen to the entire album?
If I had a box right now...
Would you push the button?
I would push the button on you.
I would push the button if the button was going to allow me to make people that rate albums that don't listen to the entire album not be able to give their opinion on albums anymore. I would push that button.
Whatever. 2 out of 5, Katy. Do better.
I gave it a 2.5, and I listened to the entire album twice.
Whatever.
But I thought that it was okay. Again, Katy Perry's writing is amazing. There's some actually really introspective lyrics on this album that were really good. It's really not for me, and it's not her best work. Even objectively, I can look at the rest of her catalog and say that this isn't her best work.
Just again, if you haven't, go back and listen to Katy Perry's first album.
Like, her first album is really good. It's a very poppy album.
It's very poppy,
but it's really good. More music. Let's talk about SZA.
SZA.
How'd you feel about SZA's album?
So, I didn't like SZA. Her first album. This one, I liked way more than the first one.
She's grown a lot.
Well, good for her. Good for growth. There were a couple of songs in particular that I really liked. The one with Kendrick, even though it was kind of explicit, like when you look past that, like what she was trying to say, I really liked that one. I can't think of what the name of that one is though.
I want to say Pretty Bird. No, Doves in the Wind.
Doves in the Wind. I really like that one. And then I really like 20 Something because I am a 20-something, and I feel like that song made me feel some kind of way, and I liked it. So overall, I really liked. I don't want to say really liked. I enjoyed this album. It was a pleasant experience.
And you listen to all of this one?
I listened to all of this one.
Nice. I'm a SZA fan, full disclosure. SZA's another one whose pen I think is amazing. A lot of people didn't like her first album because a lot of her metaphors were really like heavy. She did not do that on this one. She was telling you exactly what was on her mind on this album.
Yeah, she did.
And I really, really appreciate. First of all, sonically, TDE in general, that their record label is they're doing something amazing. Like their whole label has a cohesive sound. Mm-hmm. Like she sounds like she should be on the same label as Kendrick and Isaiah Rashad and Ab-Soul. Like I think that's amazing. Even Schoolboy Q, like all of their music is cohesive. I really loved her honesty on this album.
Yeah.
Like there's a song called The Weeknd where she's essentially talking about being a side chick, but she's owning it in a way that I haven't heard a lot of women do. Like when you talk about when Trey Songz calls himself Mr. Steal Your Girl, like are you stealing her and wifing her, or are you're not, right? So that means that you're just her side dude essentially. But we celebrate that sort of thing from men. But SZA comes on this album and she's saying, I'm not gonna let you talk down on me because I've got him on the weekends. He's our man, right? And like although that sounds crazy, like I appreciate her honesty in that. She's owning it, and I like that. I don't condone side chicks.
Clearly condones side
I do
chicks.
not condone side chicks, but
Hashtag this episode is actually sponsored by Gilbert's wife.
this
Good looking out,
baby. I love you. But I do appreciate her honesty on this album. The sounds on this album are dope. I really liked it sonically. There's a lot of boom bap on there, which is dope. There's still that whole atmospheric ethereal thing that her and Kehlani and Janae Aiko are doing. Mm-hmm. So I really, really like that genre of female vocals.
So what are you giving it?
I gave it a 3.5, man. I really like this album. It was a really, really good album to me. There were a couple of songs on this album that gave me a feeling that I haven't had since I listened to Jill Scott. Jill Scott is my favorite female vocalist of all time.
Whoa there.
And I'm not saying SZA is Jill Scott, but I'm saying there are a couple of songs on here where I said, oh, if you would have given this to a young Jill, she would have sung this song.
Did she mention collard greens?
She didn't mention food, which Jill Scott did do a lot.
All Jill Scott talks about is food and sex.
But you guys should go check out the SZA album if you haven't listened to it already. It's a dope song. I think the standout track was probably Love Galore or Weekend, which both of those are singles, which is kind of annoying, but
it's for a reason.
Both of those songs are amazing to me. I also like the song that Lindsay liked, Doves in the Wind. I thought that was awesome. But they did drop a lot of the P word, just full disclosure there.
Beep, beep. So speaking of side chicks.
Yeah.
You had some nonsense that you wanted to talk about
today. So
there's
a new TV show called The Real Side Chicks of Charlotte.
Listen.
And it's real.
Listen. We're not going to talk about side chicks. Okay. I don't condone side chickery. No, I'm not gonna put money in the side chick's pocket. What is this?
I'm not gonna put money in a side chick's pocket. It's crazy.
I refuse. And I'm mad. I don't know. It's probably Bravo. Sorry, Bravo, but you're trash. I'm not going to give them views. I'm not going to support a side chick show. That's terrible. That is absolutely terrible. And I'm not going to condone that. And I'm not going to have my stamp on that. I'm not going to approve that. No checks, no clicks, no bops, no retweets, no hashtags, no likes, no nothings from me on the side chicks. If you are a side chick, get out, jump into the pool because I don't have time for you.
All right.
I'm sorry. What do you think about the side chick show, Gilbert? Will you be watching it?
No.
You and your wife?
Nope.
Together?
Nope.
Separately?
Baby, I love you. Yep, no side chicks here. Nope.
So anyway, moving right along. So this past weekend, something interesting happened. I was actually at Disneyland, and I heard my friend squeal. Like she squealed when we were on the tram riding our way back to the parking lot. I said, girl, what is wrong with you? She said, oh my God, I got a picture to show you, but there's kids around. I said, I don't know what that means. So we waited until we were off the little tram. We got in the car, and she said, look, and she flashed me, she flashed me the picture that Amber Rose posted on her Instagram this past weekend. Did you see the Amber Rose picture?
I did see the Amber Rose picture. It came across my news feed like it did everybody else's. I did not seek out the Amber Rose picture.
Well, neither did I.
But it popped up in the news feed, so I did see it, yes.
It's a side check. So,
what about it?
Essentially, if you didn't see it, it's Amber, body out, just full-blown naked.
Yeah.
Which it shortly got deleted thereafter that. So,
but this wasn't a leak, right? This was in...
No, she posted this. She knew good and well what she was doing. So, I feel some kind of way about what Amber did, but I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on her posting that and just her overall whatever she's doing right now.
Wait, what are my thoughts on her posting a picture?
So let's talk about let's talk about the picture first, and then we'll go from there.
You want to talk about the picture? Yeah. Amber Rose is naked. She's covering her woman parts. There's nothing else. There's nothing else really to talk about.
No, she's not.
She wasn't covering her woman parts?
Amber Rose's body was out. I don't want to be vulgar on the podcast.
Maybe I saw the wrong picture, but I'm fairly positive she was covering her womanly parts.
Sweetie.
Was she not covering?
The bits were out.
The bits was out.
It was out.
I must have saw the wrong picture.
Oh.
But if you're asking me how I feel about a grown woman posting a picture of her body on the internet, I don't care. That's
okay. So let me be more specific then. How do you feel about Amber Rose and kind of this take that she's taken on feminism? So and she's clearly promoting her quote unquote slut walk.
Right.
So what do you think about that? Because I have strong feelings about that.
About the slut walk in general, I think that trying to make that word a positive word is a weird thing. I also feel like that's kind of hypocritical because I use the N-word. But I don't know, man. I just said this about SZA. I'm all for women being empowered and being free with their sexuality. Like I don't have any issue with that.
Okay. Body out.
Yeah, Lindsay is showing me the Amber Rose picture right now. That was the awkward 2 seconds of silence
pause.
there.
Was Gilbert taking it in?
But she's not naked. Again, her breasts are covered, and you can see some hair in her area. But I mean, it is what it is, you know. She's a grown woman, and she posted a picture of her grown body on the grown internet. That is between her and her grown life.
Okay, so she posted this picture, and it was clearly very shortly after taken down by Instagram, which I told my friend, I said, hey, screenshot that real quick because I can't see it right now, but they're going to take it down if it's explicit. And they surely did by the time we got into the car. But then she went on Twitter, was like, man, they're trying to silence my whatever. They're trying to keep us down, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I have a problem with that. Okay. I don't get me wrong. As a female, as a woman, I should be able to do whatever it is that I want.
Now, you can't post porn on Instagram. That's against the terms of service.
Yeah, I don't see how posting a picture with my hoo-ha out is promoting feminism. I just don't, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if a man posted a picture out here with his penis out here in these streets, like, he'd get...
But you can't see her hoo-ha.
Gilbert! Yes, you can!
I mean, I'm not going to argue with a woman about feminism. Like, I agree that it's probably not, it's not necessarily helping the cause to post a thirst trap on Instagram, but
I just feel like it was more of a ploy to just get traction for her slut walk than it was to make an actual statement. And I don't understand she knew good and well that was going to get taken down on Instagram. So why take to Twitter and get mad about it when you knew good and well, like, post it on Twitter. There's been full-blown porn that is posted up in my newsfeed on Twitter. Just posted on Twitter. Like,
you're following on Twitter.
Right, it's a whole other story. It's like, why do you need to put that on Instagram where you know it's going to get taken down? And that was the other thing that came up was the actual idea of the quote-unquote slut walk. And what put it in perspective for me was that Charlamagne was talking about this. But I thought about it because I don't have any kids, but Gilbert has a kid. So I thought about my niece. If somebody were to refer as my niece as a slut, I would punch them straight in the face.
I appreciate that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not a positive word.
It's not.
And I guess I get the sentiment behind, quote unquote, trying to take the power back from the word slut or whatever, but I agree that we shouldn't, instead of trying to make negative words positive, let's just use different words.
Right.
Let's just figure something else to call people. Or I wholeheartedly agree with feminism. There should be an equality in the sexes. It shouldn't be a double standard. Men shouldn't be able to sleep around with no repercussion. If you as a female want to go out and throw your body out there in the streets, go for it, man. I mean, there should be no judgment upon you. But I don't think owning the terms in which have been derogatory towards females who do that is a positive thing. So
I mean, you did call side chicks thoughts like 10 minutes
I did not call side chicks thoughts. Thoughts and side chicks were two different things.
Thoughts and what's the difference?
A side chick, I'm not doing this. I'm not falling down this. What you won't do is catch me.
I got you.
PR training.
Pray you catch me. But yeah, I agree with you. I agree with the sentiment behind the I don't even want to say the slut walk. It was like that word. I don't use that word. Like,
I don't either.
It's not, and I'm not like a super PC person. Like, I swear, obviously, but I don't say slut that often. But I agree with the sentiment behind the slut walk, like you said. But I also don't have a problem with Amber Rose did. If she, first of all, Amber Rose is a model, so like
but you're not modeling your vagina, Amber. It shouldn't be in my Instagram feed. I shouldn't be at Disney World scrolling through Instagram and see your hoo-ha taking a walk out here in these streets.
You don't have to follow Amber Rose.
I don't. It was my friend.
Your friend doesn't have to follow Amber Rose. Don't be mad at Amber Rose for putting a hoo-hoo in your life. Be mad at your friend for putting Amber Rose's hoo-hoo in your life.
I'm mad because Amber Rose knew good and gosh darn well what she was doing. Post it to Twitter. Why post it to Instagram? It's the same thing that we were talking about earlier with the tweet and delete. Why post it if you know it's going to get taken down and then you want to use that as a quote-unquote platform for you to go off on the man's trying to keep us down and won't let us females post our vaginas. Like, no, like, just adhere to the rules of Instagram. I don't know. That made me mad.
I'm with you.
Like, if you are using it for a ploy, then put #ad. Put #slutwalk at the end. If that's what you're doing, then do it. But don't say that was you just being a feminist. And, like, I don't think that's what feminism is, but that's me.
Maybe we can talk about what feminism is on another podcast.
Yes.
Maybe. That'd be good, I think.
Or bad for me.
It could be bad for you.
It could.
But
it's fine.
The films will come for you.
It's fine.
All right, what else we got? Black Panther dropped a trailer.
Yeah, they did.
Did you see it?
I surely did.
How'd you feel about it?
I was so excited, and I feel bad because I have read not of the one Black Panther comic. I know nothing about Black Panther.
That's fine.
But just seeing the amount of melanin in that trailer
a lot of melanin.
Made me excited.
So I'm a big fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'm really excited about this movie, not just because it's black, but because I like comic book movies. Mm-hmm. I was a little bit worried about the CGI of the city in the trailer, but I'm guessing that this is from an early cut of the movie, obviously, since we're about a year away. So that'll probably get better. Michael B. Jordan's hair was fantastic.
It's a classic, man.
Like, that was amazing. I, too, was pleased with the amount of melanin in the trailer. I'm really, really excited about this movie.
I'm super excited. I will be there opening night. I will buy my tickets. I'll be ready to go. Yeah. You can't tell me nothing on that evening. However, I will, and I don't want to say this.
Yeah, you want to say it.
I guess the
podcast is lit, girl.
I don't want to be a hypocrite as to what I just said about the amount of melanin, but I also don't want this to be like a black movie.
That's the thing that I'm afraid about. That there are people that are not comic book fans that are just black that are like, oh yes, this is finally a black movie or whatever, and they're turning like I'm seeing these debates on the internet between white people and black people, and it's like, yo, let's not make this that.
Yeah, so that's my thing. So like, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'm super excited for the amount of melanin, and I'm super excited for the caliber of actor that they have in there. Like Lupita's in this mug, she's about to tear it up. But at the same time, I'm also a fan of not only just movies in general, but I am a fan of comics. So I've been doing my research on Black Panther. Yeah. So it's not just like, man, I'm super excited for this Negro movie. Like, no, like it's going to
be a good movie.
It's going to be a good movie. That's what I'm excited for because I love the Marvel Universe.
But that's what black people, what I think we have to get to. We shouldn't be hoping for more black movies. We should be hoping for a time where movies that are black actors don't have to be put in a category called black movies, right? This is our opportunity to have a movie with an all-black cast and have people just view it as a good movie.
It's a good movie.
That's what we really want. We don't want more black movies. We want movies that star black people that are good movies to be treated like every other really good movie.
Yeah.
And this is a good opportunity for that because Marvel doesn't make bad movies, right? And this Marvel movie has all black people in it. So let's just prop this up as a really, really good movie. People are gonna notice that there's black people in there. You know what I mean? Like we don't need to say
it's not a secret.
Hey, yeah, it's not a secret that there are Negroes in this movie. Full of Negroes. It's called the Black Panther. It's literally called the Black Panther.
It's literally the Black Panther.
But it is what it is. Stay woke, my brothers and sisters. What about the Tupac movie?
What about the Tupac movie? Are you gonna go see it? I can't.
That dude looks like Tupac.
When we were in LA, there was this huge poster on the side of a building with the movie poster, and literally I was like, I can't watch this movie. He looks just like Tupac, and I can't handle it at all. I'm
ready for it. I'm definitely gonna see it. I like that they're doing like the little. They're doing the Marvel crossover in that the guy from Notorious is gonna play B.I.G. in the movie, so I think that's fantastic. I don't have much else to say about this one. I think they did a great job at casting that movie, so I'm excited to see. NWA was fantastic. Have you seen it?
Nah.
Like the biopics are or biopic, however you want to say it.
I was about to ask you which way.
We're gonna say biopic on this podcast.
Okay, go ahead. Put your foot down.
But they're awesome, man. NWA was a fantastic movie. And it wasn't a black movie. It was just a really good movie about black people that had black people in it.
Oh, you got some bass in your voice.
I always have bass in my voice.
That's the deepest in my 25 years of life. I've never heard you talk that low.
Are you ready for the top 5?
No. Did you watch anything about E3 this past weekend?
Did I watch anything about? So one of my friends sent me some clips of Battlefront 2 and a game called Anthem. But other than that, the same friend also sent me the new Xbox system. But that's about it. I don't really follow the E3 stuff.
All right, so E3, for those of you who don't know, is the Entertainment Electronics Expo or something like that.
That'd be the 3 E's.
That's the 3, something like that. I don't know, but they show all the upcoming releases in the next year. So one, I have been waiting since I was 12 for the new Kingdom Hearts to come out, and they've toyed with my emotions, and they have played games continuously, and they've pushed back release dates. They released a trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3. Which made me super excited, but I still feel like it's going to be another solid 10 years before that mug comes out, so that's fine. But a couple things that did come out, it made me want to buy the Nintendo Switch because the Mario game looks amazing. And what was the other thing that I was going to say? Oh, Call of Duty. Gilbert doesn't like Call of Duty. I'm a big gamer. Gilbert says he's a big gamer, but he really just plays 2K and Madden. But Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty looks fantastic because the other ones have been like in space with jetpacks, and I don't care, but they're going back like a return to form, and they're going to be in World War II, I think, and I'm super excited.
Also, I'm not a gamer.
You don't even claim.
I like video games, but I'm not super into video games anymore. I do play 2K a lot. I like everything that Bethesda does, so all of Skyrim, Fallout, all of that. Those games I enjoy those games, but I don't play.
I didn't mean to offend you.
Yeah, I don't play a lot of those games anymore.
So the new 2K, they're gonna have another single player, my player type deal, but Madden is also apparently gonna have one, starring the Mahershala Ali guy.
I just don't care.
Well, see, that's because you don't play those.
The Spike Lee thing was so terrible.
I'm excited because that's the only game mode that I play on Madden and 2K. Let me start from the bottom.
Shout out to Tandem Cannon, by the way. It's a really good gaming podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
You guys should listen to them also. That is Tandem Cannon. So I was thinking in my head, man, we're talking about a lot of video games, but it's I like video games. Video games are dope. What else did you learn about 2K? Because I do like 2K, but I didn't see anything.
The new 2K is coming out, and the only thing that I saw was the My Player thing.
So they're not getting rid of My Player.
They changed the way that they're going to do it.
Is it going to still be? They're going to force me into somebody else's story? Because that was the biggest thing.
No, I think it said that you're going to be able to customize whatever type of player that you want.
See, that's all I really want. NBA Live is still making games. Do you care?
Oh my gosh. I just mixed them up. It's
So you're talking about NBA Live.
It's NBA Live that's doing that.
Okay. So NBA Live is doing this thing where you don't even have to go to the NBA on their story mode.
What do you?
You can just be a street baller.
I don't need that.
I'm just telling you what NBA Live is doing. It's ridiculous.
All right, Live. Well, I won't be playing it.
I am probably so. I just I quit my last job, and
play 2K professional.
To play 2K professional. No, but I had all of these like in order to try to give you like more job satisfaction or something, or like appreciation, they give you these points and you can redeem these points for things. Long story short, I redeemed my points for GameStop gift cards.
At your job?
Yes.
What were the other options?
I could have got a Google Home. I could have got an Alexa thing. I could have got a Fitbit.
So way better options.
There were better options probably, but
why didn't you get a Google Home? That would have been so much fun.
Because what am I going to do with a Google Home?
Google. Search up recipe for how to make sushi.
When am I ever looking for a recipe for sushi?
You could be now that you have Google Home.
Well, I don't. I have GameStop gift cards.
How many? Can I have one?
You know, I don't want to reveal that on the podcast.
Is somebody going to jump you for your games?
You know, it's possible. But I'm going to get the new Star Wars game, Battlefront.
Battlefront?
Yeah, it looks dope.
I'll play Battlefront.
Yeah. I really, really like Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Star Wars is an amazing movie series. Which leads us to our top 5 for today.
Top five.
Our top 5 is our top 5 favorite movie series. And I want to start this out by letting everybody in the podcast world know that I have never seen Rocky. Or any of
So let's go ahead
Rockies.
And do it. Never seen any of the Rockies. What was the other one I said?
You've never seen Lethal Weapon?
I think I saw the first one. I just don't remember it. I saw the Back to the Futures. Don't remember them.
Yeah, that's ironic. What else?
I'm trying to think of what else. I can't remember what else. My dad made me sit through all of the Aliens. Did Daddy make you do that?
No. That was a daddy-daughter bonding thing.
Whoa there.
Dad and I don't watch movies.
It's Father's Day.
It is Happy Father's Day to my dad.
Happy Father's Day to all the pops
never watched
out there
movies
this
with
week.
me.
Whoa. Happy Father's Day to you, Gilbert. This is your second one? Your third one?
This is my second Father's Day.
How does it feel?
I mean, it's cool.
Do you care about this day?
Not really. Not really.
Maybe you'll appreciate it more when you're...
I think so. Father's Day is a day for children to appreciate their parents. Or their fathers. And my daughter is too young to, like, I'm gonna get like a card that has a handprint thing on it, and it's gonna be like, this is from your daughter, but it's not really from my daughter.
What if she popped up and like spelled your name?
That'd be dope. I really, really love being a dad though. Like it's an amazing feeling. Like when I open the door, coming home from work, my daughter like runs in the room, like, Daddy, and it's like, it's a fantastic feeling. That's what she's like. She's like, Daddy.
That's cute.
Yeah, but no, it's a fantastic feeling. I'm not sure how we got here.
Well, because I was gonna say Happy Father's Day to my dad.
Happy Father's Day, Pop.
You the best.
You the best.
You the best.
You the best. You never put me on an album like DJ Khaled, but you're also not a rapper.
Please. I feel like Dad could rap.
Dad could probably rap.
So our dad lied to us for a solid 20 some odd years, saying that he couldn't dance.
My goodness.
And my mom had this big birthday party where they played some down in
New Orleans
second
bounce.
line New Orleans song.
And Pop went in.
Our father lost his ever-loving bald mind.
Yeah.
And he went in.
He did.
And I remember Gilbert and I just staring at each other in complete awe and slight disgust at our father.
This is the most random podcast
I'm sorry.
that we've had.
Happy Father's Day to all the pappies out there.
And shout out to all the fathers that don't know that they're fathers yet, but your side chick got knocked up, son.
We don't support side chicks.
All right, top 5 movie series. My number 5 is the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I'm so sick and tired of you breaking the dang rules. So my number 5 is any movie ever made.
That qualifies. so the MCU qualifies as a movie series. They're all interconnected. So I couldn't just pick Iron Man or the Avengers.
You could. You just chose not to.
Or X-Men, right? They're all connected. So I really, really like the Marvel movies. I think that they're fantastic. They're kicking DC's butt right now in terms of movies. The Marvel movies are fantastic, man. They're fun. The ones as of late are getting a little bit darker, dealing with more adult
see Doctor
themes.
Strange?
I did see Doctor Strange.
The movie?
Yeah.
When?
And like Jaden Smith, I'm going to dedicate my life to those practices.
I'm not going to lie. When I walked out of the movie theater after that movie, because I saw the mug in 3D, I was like, trying to bend the air.
Every time I do Tai Chi, I think about Doctor Strange.
How often are you doing Tai Chi,
I
my
do
dude?
Tai Chi fairly often. I like Tai Chi.
What is this life that you're living?
I'm living a life. What's your number
5? Before I get to my number 5, I've got a couple of honorable mentions because I don't think that any of these are on your list. So first off, Final Destination.
I've never seen a Final Destination.
You've never seen? Yes, you have.
I haven't.
They're fantastic.
I don't watch horror movies.
They're not horror movies.
Okay.
They're stupid. Well, speaking of horror movies, then the next one is Saw, because the Saws were interesting.
I've never seen Saw.
But I stopped watching after number 4. The first one you should watch. It's a fantastic.
I particularly don't like torture movies.
The first one is really, really good. After the first one, it's like, okay, the first 3 are all right, but the first one is a really good movie.
If you gave me a box with a button in it and said, if you push this button, you'll get $100, but you have to watch Saw, I'd watch Saw.
I mean, I'll give you $100 to watch Saw.
You get, man, write the check.
I got.
Write the check.
No, for real. If I give you $100, will you watch Saw?
Write the check.
Okay. Also, The Hunger Games, but you didn't see.
I've seen all the Hunger Games.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
The Hunger Games, and then I'll talk about the other ones later. All right, my number 5 is 2 because Gilbert likes to break the rules, so I'll break the rules. My number 5 is the Harry Potter series, and then the Star Wars series.
So hold on, my breaking the rules was actually a series. You gave 2 different.
So what I did is I picked 2 huge cinematic and literary movies that I thought would work. So one, the Harry Potter series, because I grew up reading Harry Potter, and it was fantastic to see that world put on the big screen. It was great. I also wasn't allowed to read Harry Potter when I was younger, so I used to have to sneak and read Harry Potter. #nerdlife. But this past weekend, I went to Hogwarts. I got to go to the Harry Potter world at Universal, and it was fantastic. And I sipped on some butterbeer and rode some great Harry Potter rides, and it was great.
I can dig it. I've seen the Harry Potters. I didn't dislike them, but the first few were really kiddie. It got more exciting as they went on, but I never read the books.
That's how the books are, and I just think it's perfect how
it grew up with you.
It grew up with you, and
Yeah.
I was literally when I was that age, so that was fun. But I'm sick of the whole split the last movie into.
I don't like that.
I don't.
I didn't watch the B version of Harry Potter 9, so I was like.
So you didn't see how it ended?
No.
Well, you need to see how it ended, but the first part of that
I'm not okay. Is it a spoiler? Okay, I'm not gonna spoil Harry Potter.
I feel like
for anybody who hasn't seen it
the last
yet.
movie came out when I was in high school.
But the plot twist at the end of there's a plot twist of a plot twist of another plot twist, and it just got to be too much for me at some point. And I was like, which dude with the beard is the dude with the beard? I don't understand anymore.
Whatever.
My number 4 is Bad Boys.
Okay.
I have expressed my love for Bad Boys on this podcast already. I know that when we're talking about these series, we're talking about lots of movies, but I consider a movie with a sequel a series.
Yeah.
And the Bad Boys series is fantastic.
They're coming out with a 3 and 4.
They are supposed to be coming out with a 3 and a 4. I'm not sure if I want that. Martin has gained quite a bit of weight. But we'll see. I'm not going to go into Bad Boys again. Just know that I love it. Number 4?
Bad Boys is great. I'm going to go ahead and switch my list around a little bit. My number 4 is the Rush Hour series.
Bruh!
I loved Rush Hour. The first Rush Hour is amazing. Chris Tucker.
Push a button. Push the button. That was a good scene. That's a scene from Rush Hour.
Thank you, Gilbert. The first Rush Hour is absolutely fantastic. And Chris Tucker in his prime, Jackie Chan doing whatever it is that Jackie Chan does. It was fantastic. The second one was also hilarious. That was when they were in the spa and they had to run on the highway naked. It was great. The third one.
There's a third Rush Hour?
Could have done without the third one. Side note.
Does it have Jackie Chan in it?
Yes.
There's a third Rush Hour.
Side note, little random fact. The third Rush Hour is the first movie that I ever saw without a parent.
Really?
Which I don't think I should have, because isn't it rated R?
Good choice.
So the third Rush Hour.
There's a third Rush Hour for real?
One, when they were in Paris.
Wow.
It was bad. But yeah, Rush Hour is my number 4.
All right, my number 3 is the Dark Knight series.
Ooh.
Which I liked.
That is in my honorable mentions.
The Dark Knight series, some of the best superhero movies. So DC generally sucks right now.
Wonder Woman.
But I haven't seen Wonder Woman yet. But Suicide Squad was terrible. Batman versus Superman was terrible. Again, there's a really, really annoying scene in Batman versus Superman, but I'm not going to talk about it because it's a spoiler. But the Dark Knight series, all 3 of those movies are fantastic.
So I hear that a lot of people don't like the one with Bane. I enjoyed that
It
one.
was really good.
But it's because I really love Homeboy Hardy. Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
He is fantastic in anything that he does.
Man, there was a scene. This is not a spoiler, but at the beginning of that movie with Bane, they're like parachuting out and of a plane that's about to crash, and one of Bane's acolytes is the person with the last parachute, and he looks at Bane, and Bane looks at him, and he knew that he had to give Bane that parachute, and I was just like, man, that's loyalty right there. Loyalty, loyalty, loyalty.
I was about to do that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Nah, yeah, the Dark Knight is fantastic.
It's a good, The Dark Knight
itself
is a great movie.
It's fantastic.
Great. Heath Ledger, God bless the dead. He did a fantastic job in that movie.
Did you ever see Brokeback Mountain? All right, so my number 3 is a fantastic series, the Toy Story series. I love Toy Story. All 3 of them.
There's 3 Toy Stories?
So here's the thing. When you say that, first off, you should have seen all 3 of them. All 3 Toy Stories.
We're recording this at Lindsay's house, and she has a.
I legit have a Woody doll. It's because you didn't have to do that.
I'm just saying.
You're the worst. My best friend and I grew up, and I would refer to her as Buzz, and she'd call me Woody. So So for her wedding, I actually bought her a Buzz Lightyear from the actual Disney store, and she got me, or I got myself a Woody. But yeah, that's my Woody doll. But Toy Story is fantastic. The third Toy Story. So I guess it's not really a spoiler alert, but it came out in 2010. That was the year that I graduated from high school, was about to go to college. In the movie, it's Andy transitioning and going to college. And for some reason, our parents had like premiere tickets to go see this movie. So I went with mom and dad, and we're sitting in the theater, and there's the moment where Andy's driving away to college. And I remember feeling my face, and I was crying, and I heard sniffing, and mom was crying, and then I looked over, and dad was crying, and all of our feelings about me going away to college were just sitting there in the theater. It was a lot for me. But the 3 Toy Stories, fantastic. Untouchable.
Nice. My number 2 is a movie that reminds me of me going away to college also, so that's interesting, right? My number 2 is the Godfather series. Now, you're laughing, but my mother and I used to annually, my mother and I would watch The Godfather. I don't know how this became a thing, but we would sit down and watch the entire. My mother.
Oh my God.
My mother uses The Godfather as a movie about family values.
So my first day of kindergarten, Gilbert was in 5th grade. And mom pulled me over before I got out of the car. And she said, Lindsay, whatever your brother tells you, you do. Don't take sides against the family.
Don't take sides against the family.
I remember that so vividly. I was like, Mom, you're insane.
I remember, again, we're going to talk next podcast about how we feel about spoilers. That's why I keep saying spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But if you haven't seen The Godfather, just pause or mute the whatever you're listening to this on for the next 10 seconds, right? The scene where they kill Fredo in the boat, Mom looked at me and said, "That's what happens to traitors." God. Like, Mom she legit used that movie for family values.
So many times. I bought her a coffee table book of Godfather quotes for Christmas.
Yeah, I have the bonus like DVD collector set of the Godfather series. I love this series. Most people don't like the Godfather 2, but I love 2. A lot of people say that the third one is the worst one. There is a helicopter drive-by in the Godfather 3. If you don't like helicopter drive-bys, I don't want you in my life. Number 2 for you.
All right, so my number 2, which was a close one with my number 1, but not that close. My number 2 is the Matrix trilogy.
The Matrix was almost on my list, bro. But the third one is just so bad.
It's so terrible. But the thing is, the greatness of the first one outweigh the terribleness of the third one to me. Yeah. Because I don't, seeing that first movie, I busted my head so many times in my room trying to jump from the bed to the door with that, I used to go to sleep and I would have, I would put on the big Sony headphones and would wake up and just say, I know Kung Fu. I used to do that in my room like I was a crazy person. The Matrix was everything.
An interesting thought about the Matrix is that the premise of that movie is based loosely on Jean Baudrillard's philosophy, and you see his book in the first one as a nod to him. Mm-hmm. But the movie is actually based on a thought experiment. There's a thought experiment that says, what if we all really just live in a computer simulation? That's a thought experiment. And I think that's interesting. That movie series is amazing. It was almost on my list. It's definitely an honorable mention. I love it. It was a fantastic movie series.
Fantastic.
So time for number one. You know what my number one is,
I know what
right?
your number one is.
All right. So some of you may know this about me. You'll learn this pretty quickly over the next year as another movie is coming out. Star Wars is my favorite movie series of all time. I like all of the I love the prequels. People hate the prequels.
Look at this. Gilbert's eyes are closed. He is
prequels,
in his zone.
The prequels are fantastic cinema. You guys are crazy. Hayden Christensen was awesome. You guys are crazy.
He's the worst.
The new movies are like Rogue One. Oh my goodness.
The Force Awakens is better than Rogue One.
Man,
I enjoyed both of them.
The Force Awakens was fantastic.
The Force
cinema.
Awakens made me feel feels, and I don't even love Star Wars.
Yeah, it
like
was
that.
the nostalgia in The Force Awakens was great. You guys are gonna hear me talk about this, man. I'm worried about the next one. I wish they wouldn't keep bouncing around directors. Like I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, but I wish they wouldn't do that. But all of the directors have done a great job so far. I wish they just let J.J. Abrams do the whole thing.
What I will say, like I said, this past week when I was in LA, I went with some very, very hardcore Harry Potter fans. Mm-hmm. While I did read the books and watch the movies growing up, I'm not as hardcore as they were. So they were in like a whole new world, like being at Hogwarts. I'd already been there before, so I was kind of like, yeah, this is cool. I really, really can't wait for them to build the complete Star Wars land.
Gosh.
And I will pay to go with Gilbert when he goes just to watch him lose his ever-loving chocolatey mind.
That's going to be fantastic.
It'll be great.
So I thought, coming into this, I thought Harry Potter was going to be Lindsay's number one. Mm-mm. So I'm actually...
So what's funny about this is my number one is actually a series that Gilbert introduced me to. He has no idea I'm about to say this.
What?
It is a movie that I did not realize that I loved until I was in college.
A series?
And it's two. And I asked my friends, like, hey, have y'all seen this movie? And they're like, Lindsay, you literally make us watch this movie every weekend. My favorite movie series is the Kill Bill series.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. I have watched Kill Bill probably 30 times.
I'm a huge Tarantino fan.
Tarantino's amazing. We need to do a top directors, top 5.
We should just do a top 5 Tarantino
or
movies.
top 5 Tarantino movies. But Kill Bill is fantastic.
That's your favorite movie series?
That's my favorite movie series. I didn't realize it until I was in college. Like that. I do that in the halls. The kids make fun of me. That scene with Uma Thurman and Vivica Fox fighting in the kitchen. Oh my gosh.
That was 2,
Lucy
right?
Liu's son at the end of the... No, that was the first one.
Was it the first one?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
When she gets stuck in the coffin in the second one, I don't have claustrophobia, but when I tell you that my body aches every single time.
Wiggle, big toe, wiggle.
Oh my gosh. I don't want to spoil anything, but the ending
scene with
of the
the Crazy
second one,
Eights in
the
the first
Crazy
one.
Eights is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's not the one where they made it in black and white because if it was in color, it would have been rated R or something like that.
Yeah.
Or
rated NC-17.
NC-17.
Yeah.
I don't know. That movie, the first one is fantastic. The second one is also great. That series is fantastic. I knew that this would be a surprise for you. But
That's the first top 5 that you surprised me on.
It wasn't until college that I realized, oh my gosh, I love this series. Yeah. And we don't talk about it a lot, but I love that series. So go ahead, Uma, Kill Bill, Tarantino. That's my number one.
And that's dope. So that's our top 5. You guys should, as always, follow us on Twitter. Follow us at the EBS Podcast on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Or you can follow us on Instagram at Educated Black Siblings, or send us an email at educatedblacksiblings.gmail.com. We would love to hear what your favorite movie series are.
Also, look us up on YouTube at The Educated Black Siblings. Will be the only thing that pops up.
That is true.
So before we go, a quick shout out to our sponsors today. We have a couple of them. The first sponsor, sponsored to Side Chicks out there. Thank you, Side Chicks, for doing your thing. I don't support you, but Gilbert does.
Stop it.
I can't shout out our other sponsor.
Yeah, don't do that. But yeah, just continue. Again, our goal is always to have a conversation with you guys, man. So on any of the mediums that we just mentioned, holla at us, man. We want to engage in conversations with you guys. Let us know if you have a top 5 that you're curious that you want to hear us do. Again, if there's a thought experiment or a crazy scenario that you want to pose to us,
hypothetical,
let us know. We've been doing this with no advertising thus far, so we appreciate those of you that are listening to us. We signed a 5-episode deal, my sister and I. I think we're gonna re-up. Episode 5 is gonna be
It's gonna be bigger. It's gonna be better. It's gonna be bolder. It's gonna be braver.
It is. That's gonna be our live episode, man. So I want you guys to continue to share it if you like it. But we're trying to build a community here, man. I want y'all to be a part of our community. So as a community, we're gonna go out and try to grow this podcast. We're gonna do that starting with this one, really. But episode 5, we're really gonna mash the gas on that one and
mash the gas.
We're gonna mash the gas on it, baby. And try to get out there.
I have a question for you.
What's happening?
Life
is hard out here for a pimp.
Or is that what you tell to your side chicks?
When I'm trying to get this money for the rent. All the Cadillac and gas money spent. It's a whole lot of... Won an Oscar? It did?
3 6 Mafia has an Oscar.
3
You didn't know that?
Oh, man. We will see you guys in a fortnight.
Swish, swish, bish. Another one in the basket.